Here's where it can get tricky. So now it's like, all right, well, what's the first step? And what most people do, Tobi, this is not just you, this is most people. What most people do is they say, okay, let's start to build it. Because if I build it, they will come, okay? And what happens is we love building. You wanna know why, Tobi? Because we're artists. You're an artist. You're great at what you do.
This is Secrets for Success.
Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you as always for joining me, my friends. I have a special guest today, and we're going to have a decaf coffee cuppa time, okay? It's gonna be our time where we're gonna have coffee, we're gonna have a conversation, and you're gonna get to speak with one of my clients, Tobi Page. So Tobi, welcome to Secrets for Success. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell them what you're currently doing right now that you just told me that you're doing? Why don't you tell them?
Yeah, I'm on an epic journey driving across the United States. So started in Portland, Oregon, and we've been driving for 6 days, and it has been absolutely amazing. I've seen Rushmore, Crazy Horse, the Badlands, Wall Drug. It's a drugstore. You got to stop there on I-90. Wow. Yeah, we've been driving for 6 days, and every turn I'm like jaw dropping until we got to Iowa. Okay, I'll admit Iowa was a little less jaw dropping, but Montana and Wyoming and like getting to be 6 feet away from Buffalo, and it's just been awesome.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. You guys, there's so many things. What we were just talking about off camera is there's so many amazing things for us to experience in life, and at least for me, I just believe that we need to do everything we can in our power to be able to enjoy all that this planet has to give to us, you know, and it's there. It's just a matter of having the time to be able to do it. And so I love that you're doing this, but actually it inspires me to want to do this for myself as well. I've never traveled across the country before, so I think that's absolutely amazing what you're doing.
It's been pretty epic, and on the way I definitely thought about, how fortunate I am that I could, my boss let me take 2 weeks off of work to move across the country because I'm not just traveling.
Right.
I'm actually moving.
Yeah.
My husband's driving the U-Haul with our worldly possessions, and I've got the dog in the truck, so I've kind of gotten to do some extra sightseeing, but just to be able to have that freedom to say, this is what I'm going to do today, and this is what I get to choose. I think that choice is what I love about it.
Yeah. You know, I always say, building assets gives you the ability to have choices. By the way, building assets is not easy, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. But building assets provide you choices. Choices is what allows you to have freedom. There is no freedom without choices, right? But there also is no freedom without building assets, and building assets is hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the people that you serve, and then let's talk about your journey in entrepreneurship. So why don't we start with, tell the people what it is that you do and who you serve.
Okay, so I'm a dietitian, and I'm a new age dietitian. So we're leaving behind the days of restriction and shaming around food and what you're supposed to do. I call it the shoulds and the shouldn'ts. So I am here to help people figure out how to eat well using the foods that they love and enjoy, and how to include like the hotel waffles that I cannot pass up, those fresh those fresh waffles you get in the hotel, stuff like that. And I just have clients that they scroll on Facebook and they say, gosh, I wish I could eat that, make that recipe, but it's not good for me and I shouldn't have it. Well, there's that shouldn't. And so I'm here to say, hey, let's find a way to have that, because all the food in the world is great and we can balance anything out. Yeah. So I'm here to help people enjoy their food again, enjoy life with food, and achieve their health goals at the same time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's definitely needed, because I know I want that as well. So and I'm assuming I'm not the only one. Okay, so let's talk about the journey on helping people do that and the things that you have done. you started out with a private practice, right? And then you've gone into other things. So can we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly?
For sure. And
Okay.
like I said, I'm the poster child of like what not to do as an entrepreneur. But I just was born with the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
And I think I got it from my parents because they were both self-employed. And so we got to take vacations and things when we wanted. So
Hmm.
when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, I actually figured out really early on. I was in high school, like a freshman in high school, and my friend had tried on some anorexia and wasn't eating. And gosh, I just loved food so much that I thought, how in the world could you deprive yourself of something so wonderful and so important in our lives? And I wasn't a kid that liked to read much, but I started picking up books about nutrition and it just lit me up. And I couldn't believe it that I was reading all these books about nutrition and I just couldn't get enough. So that's kind of where it all started. Like, okay, now I know what I want to do. I want to be a nutritionist. And as I would talk to my friend about these things, I felt like, wow, I'm pretty good at talking to her and counseling her, or, just melding the two worlds of body image and desire for a healthy aesthetic, we'll say, and wanting to eat. And so it just lit my fire. So I knew what I wanted to do since freshman year in high school.
Oh, wow. That's
I
awesome.
wanted to be a dietitian in private practice. So I went to college, and took me a little bit longer to get through college because I had a baby real early. But I plugged away, kept taking my classes. I was dead set on opening my private practice. No clue how to do this. To get through college, I was a hairdresser. So I went to beauty school and got my hairdressing license. And so I did kind of have like my own business there. So I thought, well, okay, I've ran my own hairdressing business. I can probably run my own nutrition counseling business, right? No problem. It's a little bit bigger
Hmm.
than renting a booth and buying some shampoo and hair color. So finished school and moved up to Portland. And I needed to get into my internship. So for dietitians, we have to go to an accredited college, and then we have to do an internship program. Well, I didn't have very much money, and so I didn't really have very many options. And I wanted to be in Oregon, and so I was dead set on the Mid-Willamette Valley Dietetic Internship that was affordable and in Oregon.
Hmm.
Well, they only took 3 people a year. So I had pretty good grades, but I had that baby and everything, so I didn't have a lot of like volunteer experience. I just didn't have a lot on my application. And so I applied and I did not get accepted.
Mm.
And so that was a bummer. But I thought, okay, I got to go build this up a little bit. So I actually went to work for Oregon State University in their nutrition education programs and met some people, got some volunteer opportunities, really built up my application, applied again, didn't get in again. Okay. This is my dream. This is what I want to do. I want to have a nutrition counseling practice. So I kept going. I actually took the next year to do a little bit of a master's degree. And again, I applied again. And this time I got it.
So,
So
so third time's a charm for you. And you now were able to do that, and you were able to go on to build a practice, and serve quite a bit of people. I know that I've been in your world for the last year, but there are things that you've built a successful practice, but then there are other things that you wanted to do after building that practice. So can you tell us a little bit
well,
about that?
so just real quick. So, now I had my RD and I thought, okay, so I was feeling like if I build it, they will come, right? So I'm the poster child for don't do that. I got my RD. I thought, all right. I actually had an office space set up before I even took the test. So I was
Oh, wow.
ready to
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Yeah.
So I took the test. I went and sat down at my desk and I waited for those people to show up. And you know what? They did not show up.
So it doesn't work like that. So how does it work? Now that you know.
Now that I know. How it works is really through those partnerships, is finding the people who have my audience and connecting with them and showing them how I can help make their job easier and help their people, right? Because that's what they want to do, is they want to help their people. I can help their people, and their people are going to just love them for referring them over to me. So I've mostly connected with primary care physicians. A few other massage therapists, chiropractor kind of thing, but mostly primary care. I definitely learned that people listen to their doctor. They do what their doctor tells them to do.
Okay, let's stop there for a second. Let's stop there for a second. I need everybody to understand this, because just this one thing that Tobi just said will save many of you tens of thousands of dollars, and more importantly than that, the time that you're wasting thinking that if I just build it, they will come. That is not how it works, okay? What Tobi just said, the answer she just gave you, is an answer that she's able to give you based on personal experience. And I can tell you that answer is correct. If you build it, they will not come. What you need to do is you need to figure out who has your audience, okay? Let me tell you, there's 3 groups of people that have your audience. Other people, that's number 1, where you can build relationships with them and get into their world. That's what Tobi did. Number 2 is other platforms, okay? And you can basically get on those platforms, and you can do it free of charge. It just takes work to actually put out things that are going to attract the people that you're looking for. And then number 3, you can pay. You can pay. You can pay to be on platforms. You can pay to be on online platforms, offline platforms, magazines, anywhere that your audience is giving their attention, you can pay. And so what Tobi did is she said, I'm going to do partnerships. I'm going to go to the people that already have trust in my audience. And in her case, it was physicians. It was primary care physicians, family physicians, and she was going to build relationships with them. And then that basically helped her take off her practice. There you go. She just gave you great business advice. All right, go ahead and continue now. So what happened after that?
It really did. Okay, so after that, that was like, then the clients started flowing and great. I provide a great service, and so they'd go back, they'd tell their doctor, I really love Tobi. Their doctors say, great, I'll keep sending people to her. So that was flowing really well, and it's been 12 years. Well, not 12 years of flowing. It took a few years to get it going, but so business was great, and I was bringing in consistently about $100,000 gross a year. It's just me in the practice, so no staff to pay out or anything like that. And I thought, boy, I'm killing it. I can take whatever time. Nobody's reliant on me. I make enough money. This is fine. I could live like this. But then I got bored, and I thought, I want something more. I want something bigger. And honestly, I've been teaching these concepts for a good solid 10 years, and people love it. And they tell me all the time, this stuff changes my life. And I thought, gosh, I can't just keep on changing one life at a time. This stuff is too awesome to just keep it a secret and just tell my clients over Zoom. And so I thought, well, I need to be bigger. I need to take this to a broader audience. And so once again, I built something and expected everyone to come. I got the idea from a business coach. They're not all equal.
She said it, I didn't.
I got the idea to create an app. So what I had told this business coach was, I have this awesome, huge idea. I also have this master's degree in education, And check this out. I had written this kids curriculum. It's a 10-week program. And you know what? I sold it one time.
Mm.
But I'm not into kids. I've done peds, I've done kids, and I'm more interested in working with adults. But you know what? I have this program, the same thing, only geared for adults. And this business coach says, well, you need an online course. And I said, it's too big for an online course.
Mm.
It's too awesome for that. Like this is Tobi's head being way too big.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, no, not just another online course. I can't just have another online course sitting out there. I need something bigger. And he says, well, you should make an app. I'm like, yes, that is big. That is great. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm a pretty driven person. And if I get an idea in my head of something I want to do, I pretty much will just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will keep my head down until I get it. So that was just before the pandemic. So this was like January of 2020 that I embarked on the I'm going to build an app game. And then the pandemic hit and I thought, well, perfect. I'm home. I don't have as many clients as normal. I don't have to commute anymore. Like I have all this time that I can just dive in and just really build this app. So a couple years, I'm building the app and I'm throwing like all my retirement at it because I believe in myself. I believe in my product. I'm an entrepreneur. I take risks. Couple $100,000 later, I got into a big snafuzzle, misunderstanding. I'll save all the gory details unless you really want me to share them. But I got way in over my head.
Yeah.
On accident, and ended up owing these app developers way more money than I had. And I still had no business around the app.
Yeah.
So people kept asking me like, Tobi, how are you going to make money from the app? Like, because it's going to be a subscription. That's how. And everyone's just going to love it and they're just going to want to pay it. Well, here we are. I only actually got the app halfway to the point that I wanted it to actually be viable to charge people, like have a reason to charge people that they would want to pay for this super awesome app. So now I have an app. It's out there. It's called Eating is a Lifestyle. You can go download it in the Apple Store, but it's not as awesome as it needs to be yet. And I know that.
Yeah.
So a year ago, I was at least $100,000 in to this item, this piece of technology that this product I had created, this very expensive product that I had absolutely no business around, like except for my counseling practice.
Yeah.
So when I came to your event last year, and I actually talked to Anthony about it. And I said, this is what I've got. I've got these great ideas. I change people's lives. I've just got this awesome stuff. And he goes, well, this is where that fits into in Greg's larger model. This is where your app fits. And all of a sudden I saw it. Like, oh my gosh. Okay. I have a really expensive product, which is a tiny piece of the greater business that I have to build.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because I think there are so many parts of your story that are resonating with so many people right now that are listening. Okay. So number one, you all have some type of gift. You have a gift of whether it's a wealth of knowledge, you have experience, maybe it's a combination of both, and you're helping people in a one-to-one format. So whether that is you're a solopreneur, you have a solo practice, you're working for someone, and it satisfies you. It's cool, right? But we're all I believe, designed to do more and to become more and to create more. I mean, at least for me, I believe that we're created in God's image. And so that's a normal thing of like, wait a minute, can I do more? Can I help more people? Especially if you know that whatever it is that you're doing is really good. And I think that's the case for Tobi, and I think that's the case for many of you that are listening to the podcast, okay? So you know you need to do something, right? Now, here's where it can get tricky. So now it's like, all right, well, what's the first step? And what most people do, Tobi, this is not just you, this is most people. What most people do is they say, okay, let's start to build it. Because if I build it, they will come, okay? And what happens is we love building. You want to know why, Tobi? Because we're artists. You're an artist. You're great at what you do. You're amazing at your craft. And if we can just do the artistry all day, like that would make us extremely happy, okay? Because that's what we love. But here's the reality. The reality is that there are so many other steps that need to be done besides just us focusing on the end product, the fulfillment, okay? What I have come to realize is that the majority of people want a problem solved. And that problem can be solved via a medium as an app. It can be solved via a course. It can be solved talking to people the way that me and you are talking to people right now across the country, across the world. It can be solved in many different ways. But we don't start with that. We actually start with the problem first, and we find ways to be able to solve that problem for people in a different medium that actually doesn't cost us a lot and that creates a proof of concept first, that they're willing to accept having the problem solved. The problem solved is the biggest thing we need to do. That is what is priority, okay? And what we do is we then dip our toe in the water, okay? And so, unfortunately, Tobi didn't do that, but the reality is that 98%, she said she's the poster child for making mistakes. No, you're the norm, okay? This is actually the norm. Now, Tobi, I want to tell you something, okay? For you, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars in an app. For many people, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's building a clinic. Tobi, you are not the worst story that I've heard. Okay, you aren't, all right? Okay, it's not even close. I've had people that have spent $100,000, $150,000, $300,000. There's one, $850,000 on creating something before actually having proof of concept that people actually want it delivered in that way. It's called dipping the toe, and I need everybody to understand that, okay? Entrepreneurship is when you own and you operate a business and you're willing to do so at a very high financial risk, okay? With that said, we still need to be very, very, very smart and diligent when it comes to these risks that we are making. We need to make calculated risk, okay? We need to make risk that, yes, they're risk, but it's not, it's smart risk. It's putting a little bit into the water instead of submerging ourselves. Tobi, I want you to know this, and this is for everybody on the podcast. I've made a lot of mistakes as well. And even over the last 12 months, you know, and what I have come to realize is that in everything you can dip your toe and you don't have to jump all the way in, okay? And so that is the lesson to learn from this, all right? Now, here's the beautiful thing. Let's talk about the beautiful thing from this. Did you lose any of your knowledge and your expertise?
Absolutely not.
You didn't lose any of that, okay? Did you lose really any customers? Like, no. You have good relationships with your customers, okay? Did you lose your ability to be able to create offers for people? No, you didn't lose any of that. So the beautiful thing is that when you are an entrepreneur and you're an entrepreneur that actually has already proof that you solve problems for people and you solve problems that they actually appreciate you solving, that means that even though you might think it's a $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 mistake, you have the ability to create offers today that can eradicate that mistake. You just now know how to do it. You want to know how you know how to do it? You know how to do it because you did it wrong the first time. So you know, oh, I know not to do that anymore. And you just explain to everybody on this podcast. Now, here's what I would say. And for those of you that are listening, could you do me a favor? Could you either A, message me, okay? You can message me at my business cell phone number. It's 813-534-6453. Or, Tobi, can you tell people how they can reach out to you?
Yeah, the best way to find me is probably from my website, eatingisalifestyle.com.
Okay. Eatingisalifestyle.com. I want you guys to go to that website. Is there a contact us page somewhere there?
There sure is.
Okay, cool. So here's what I would like for you all to do that are listening right now. Can you tell me that about this podcast? Okay, just say it's the Tobi podcast, the Eating is a Lifestyle podcast. All right. And if you have gotten anything from the mistakes that Tobi has made and that I have talked about with you, can you just let me know? Okay. And here's what I'm going to tell you, Tobi. What I'm going to tell you and tell everybody else here is that when we make mistakes and then we're willing to talk about them, my third core value when I talk to my students is don't hide your mistakes. Okay. Don't hide your mistakes. Why? Because what we have done is through this podcast, we have talked about a few different mistakes. Tobi's done a lot of things right. Okay. And you can hear her story and you see how she's resilient and she's smart and she's able to communicate well and do all these cool things that has allowed her to build a successful practice, right? And she's made some errors too. But the beautiful thing is that if this helped 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people from not making the same $100,000 or $200,000 mistakes, well, now what we've done is we've saved people hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. Now, unfortunately, Tobi had to be an example for that, but she has all the things that she needs to be able to create better offers now, to create things that people will buy, and she doesn't need to build out an app, at least not yet. We don't need to finish the app yet. Right now, we can do things to still serve people and solve the problems that they need to have solved without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that is the moral of the story. So I want to tell you something. Number one, I am proud of you. Number two, you still got everything up in your noggin so you can help people, you can serve people. And number three, we know that we'll never ever do that again as the first step. We'll do the other things, and there's other ways to be able to serve people online. So before we finish, and I'm going to get people to be able to reach out to you and get in your Facebook group and all the other stuff. I think the big thing that I want everybody to understand is that there is the message, which Tobi has dialed in, but then there's the medium. And the medium is the way I'm going to serve people. Tobi has served people offline already. She does that successfully. All she wanted to do is serve people online, okay? But I want you guys to understand there's many different ways to do that, okay? Number one, I'm just going to I'll throw 5 out there right now, okay? Number one, you can create a product. You can create a product, and that product can be a product that people can consume written. It can be a product that people can consume via just listening to your voice. It can be a product that people can consume via video, okay? That is one main way that you can help people. Actually, I told you 3 in 1, okay? Number 2, you can do a masterclass. The same stuff that she uses to help her clients, she can do that and actually say, hey, you know what? I'm going to teach people live in a class, okay? All right, number 3, you can do a course, okay? That is another way to do it. It's not the only way, but it is a way to do it. You can do a live training where I'm actually teaching people in a live training. I'm going to do a one-on-one, but I'm going to do it in a one-on-one recorded way, and I'm going to let other people listen to that one-on-one recorded way from somebody else, and it's going to teach them, okay? These are all different ways that you can do these things and it not cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? And shows you proof that, hey, I can help people in a one-to-many format. It can eventually turn into something big, but it doesn't have to be big from the get-go. Okay, we just need to have proof. So anyways, hopefully that helps you all as you're listening. Tobi, can you tell people where they can find you and how they can get in touch with you if they're looking at getting help with their eating and not have to eat grass all day to lose weight and all that other stuff?
Yeah. Well, now I have the podcast. I do have a podcast called Eating is a Lifestyle that you can listen to
Cool.
on Spotify or Apple or Podbean or my website. So I
Cool.
do have that. Those are just casual conversations about being healthy in real life and not the textbook shoulds.
Yeah.
So the podcast is all about real life. I do have an online course that I'm building my community. So kind of building a lot of these things around it.
Yeah. Awesome.
I still see clients one-on-one. I still do take insurance and I take private pay to work with people one-on-one. So then I have the Facebook group. Facebook group's been a lot of fun. So Eating is a Lifestyle community inside Facebook. Probably just because I'm new to social media, I'm a lot more comfortable in my group.
Yeah.
So I can pop on live all the time and be like, hey, look what I'm doing now. I took everybody up to the top of the mountain the other day. And
That's awesome.
we just, like showed everybody how to cut a jicama the other day and just kind of in the community, just a little bit more personal. So
Yeah.
I love my Facebook community a lot. Yeah. And so I'm on the computer, which I love that I can be anywhere. I'm going to land in Indiana later on today, and that's
Okay.
where I'll be for the next couple of years, probably.
Probably. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, congratulations to you. Congratulations on all the things that you have done. Congratulations on all the lessons you've learned. And I think most importantly, congratulations on continuing to move forward, because this is just part of business. If we could do 50 million podcasts on all the mistakes that I've made, but all those mistakes allow you to become better, and they allow you to not only not make the same mistakes again, but then to help other people avoid the mistakes. So if all of it was for this podcast, then I hope it was worth it. Maybe it wasn't, but seriously,
It's all
I'm really
been
proud
worth
of you.
it.
It's all been worth
and
it.
every
Yeah.
day's a learning day. It's all
Yeah.
been worth it.
Yeah, fantastic. So thank you so much for being on our podcast. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so
awesome.
much for having me.
You got it.
That was easy.